Well, Mike Anders is on the line, and we're going to talk about his book, The Age of Cognivity. And how are you today, Mike?
I'm good.
So, what was it that inspired you to write this book?
What inspired me, actually, I woke up in the middle of the night because I'd been thinking about these things for a while. And I woke up in the middle of, jumped, straight up out of bed and went and, wrote the title down and started working on the outline. And it all came together. And I was thinking, wow, the age of cognivity. Now, isn't that a concept? And so that's what happened. It was about all the things I'd seen over the years working with technology, going all the way back to, all the way back to the first inklings of what we now are realizing to be, the internet and all that.
So what does that actually mean, the age of cognivity?
Well, you have technology has, dominated history. You have the agricultural age, you have the industrial age, you have all these different ages, and cognivity really has to do with it's kind of like a portmanteau of two words, cognitive activity. And the point I make in the book is because of the impacts of big data analytics, artificial intelligence, and automation, all acting upon each other and having its effect on us in our daily lives, in our workplaces, requires us to kind of think differently about how we use data, and also reflect about how do we think. And I know there's some people who say, gosh, oh golly, what do you mean, how do I think? Do I have to think about my thinking? What's that all about? I mean, well, I just think. But what I'm saying in my book is, in the age of cognivity, you're going to have to think about your thinking. And those who can will adapt to the changes that we are beginning to see happening all around us. And they will thrive. Now, those who can't or won't or refuse to adapt to the changes, they might not thrive, and they might not even survive.
Throughout the book, you touch on quantum theory, psychology, and neuroscience. So how do these disciplines contribute to our understanding of this cognitive revolution?
Well, it really does. And one of the chapters I talk about it, thinking. And really, when we think about how we think, we go back and say, well, how do we think? When you go back and from a historical perspective, and you think about the classic Newtonian clockwork form of thinking, and the deconstructionist at its core, well, maybe you didn't really understand what is going on around us with these technologies, each one interacting on each other and on ourselves. Maybe we have to take a quantum approach, and that's one of the things I say in the book. Perhaps it might be better in order to understand things, to think in quantum terms, to think about spooky action at a distance, or suspension of the waveform collapsing so that something comes into being because of all the information and the connectiveness of everything. I like to sometimes say, well, each of us are kind of like qubits. We're not ones or zeros. We're kind of something in between, and we're always in a state of becoming because of all the things and people, especially people who we are connected to.
So what do you hope readers will take away from the book, Age of Cognivity, and how can they apply these insights and concepts into their own life?
The first step is to say, you know what, I really have to think about my thinking, cognition, thinking about your thinking, and say, wait a minute, I'm used to just, immediately, instinctively just thinking, but maybe the requirement now is to take more time and get comfortable with careful, considered, well-reasoned, critical thought until it becomes second nature. I say in the book, you have your kind of like two types of thinking, that maybe what we need is more of a blend, and that's what we need to do. I also say that certainty. We all want certain absolute certainty. Well, maybe we need to perhaps give up on the idea of always being absolutely certain about things and begin to embrace probabilistic uncertainty and be able to operate in that environment, if for no other reason, is that the data is always changing. There's always new information. I'm kind of joking and saying, it seems like more and more every day.
Yeah.
Everything we learned in school was false. Because there's always seems like new data, new information, and you have to become in a daily basis to be comfortable with that and be able to think in probabilistic terms and in quantum terms. Start talking about things as hey, we are all in this together. We are all connected, and we all influence each other and are influenced by everyone.
And the field of technology is constantly evolving. So how do you think the ideas and concepts discussed in the book will stand the test of time?
Oh, I think it will, but like I say, we can't be absolutely certain. So I'm willing to say, hey, things are changing. That things are in superposition. That they like you say, evolve and change, and we're all standing on the outer perimeter of the age of cognivity, looking in, and what we see of shapes and movement and things, and it's glowing. And the question is, can you see it? Can you see what I'm seeing with all these new technologies and what's happening? I mean, when I first started working on the book, Chat GPT wasn't any gleam in anybody's eye. Mm-hmm. But look where we are now. And then what people are saying, well, where are we going to be tomorrow? And that is what you have to prepare yourself for and say, yeah, I can deal with it. I can get with it. I'm willing to open myself up to that. Yeah, things are going to change, and I'm going to make and leverage that change to my benefit.
Well, are you working on any books at the moment that will come after this one?
Funny you should mention that. I was just thinking about that today, about what I'm going to do next. And one of I was thinking is the first step is to come up with a title, something that kind of speaks to the age of cognivity, but a title, and then maybe from an outline perspective, break it up into 4 sections, and there are 4 chapters in each section. And then, say, okay, out of that, how am I going to, work that in? And right now, I'm still in the process of saying, what is it I really want to say? And a lot depends on, it may actually depend on some things that we may, like I say, suddenly, the waveform collapses and it's in front of us and we can't ignore it.
Well, in the meantime, where are we able to find this book, The Age of Cognivity?
It's on Amazon.com. And what's interesting is it's hard. It's a paperback version, so you can just read it yourself. And there is a audio version of the book. So, and for people who are really busy, they can just, listen to it. And of course, an electronic version of the book for people who don't like to carry books around. So, you can, take your pick.
Well, many thanks for joining us today. It's been great to have you here.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.